and currently among the top performing money market fund providers, as well as many other funds that we have both in Kenya shillings and in dollar denominated currencies. So other than that, I've also authored a book, and this book actually is where we borrow the title Dance with My Money, but I'll be sharing more about it as we continue. Now, to introduce us into the subject of today's engagements, we would want to look at financial therapy, but in this particular case, to see also if through these conversations, somebody somewhere in this platform will be touched and will receive their healing for the financial wounds they've had, and maybe start thinking about changing their money dance, because that then is what will enable us to start seeing ourselves in the realms of success, or in the realms of less pain, if I can go by that particular word. So the financial therapy itself is a program. It's a counseling actually journey that we do with clients. We walk them through some modules, and with those modules, then we are able to bring out some of these financial wounds, bring out some of these injuries, deal with them, get this person to a platform of self-awareness, so that after then at that point, then they can be able to have a more clearer and better money dance as we continue. So the objective, even for this session, is just simply to give you a sneak preview of what happens within that space, what approach do we take, and with that, then definitely you'll also start looking inwardly to your own space. There's somebody that I came across, and his name is Frank Ocean. And there is something very profound that he said. Most of us interact with it in the sphere of love and relationships, but I found it very, very relevant, and I've used it a lot in my book as well. The title being Dance with My Money. This book was launched in February this year, and so far, good feedback from those who've read it. Maybe if you've not, then you can look for copies on sale at Nuria bookstores. And those who would want to save our trees can also get an audio version of it in the website down here, moneydancetherapy.com, where you can actually just buy it in bits, meaning in chapters, depending on what you'd want to look at. But back to my point, Frank Ocean says something very, very, very profound. He says that when people are happy, they enjoy the music. But when they are sad, they understand the lyrics. I want to invite you to pause a little bit and reflect on those particular phrases, and ask yourself whether in the realm, in your interaction with money, in what you've done so far with what you've had, whether it is true. Because many times this happens to some people within a cycle of a month, such that every month, somebody may need to mute. Okay, so this is a cycle that happens to some people every month, and they see it repeat itself because they get themselves to this cycle where they have money at the beginning of the month. Towards the middle of the month, they discover that they have more month left than the money. Then towards the end of the month, then it is a totally sad situation. When people are happy, Irene, please mute. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so when people are happy, they enjoy the music, but when they are sad, they understand the lyrics. For some, as I said earlier on, maybe a monthly cycle, a monthly experience, a repeating pattern. But for others, then it may actually be a journey of life. You look back and you remember the days you were happy, the days you had the money, the days you were enjoying the music, you were in the music. But when the money ran out, when things changed, circumstances changed, jobs were lost, maybe jobs were changed here and there, maybe Trump said something, it meant closing. And now you discover that this is the time that the lyrics that you used to experience are now making sense. And it is very painful at times because you may not go back there and undo. So the main focus there may be to say, can we get to a point where those pains and those wounds of yesterday do not impact us, do not affect our decision making today negatively, but rather propel us so that the lessons that we carry from there can actually get us to the next levels and we can do things differently, because that then would mean that we're becoming better dancers in this arena of the money dance flow, and we are able to now resonate better. Now, we know very well that finance is taught in school, but money is not. If money is not taught in school, then money is taught in the world. And most of the time, by the time we come to realize that this is actually what the writer of this particular money dance song meant, then we are learning the lyrics a little bit too late. But the essence of this session, the essence of the money dance therapy, the essence of financial literacy that I see even most of my colleagues in the industry do, is to help us to be able to understand the lyrics while we are still happy. We don't need to wait until the time when we will be sad and maybe the music has stopped for us to then say we are now very, very awake to what is happening around us. So the essence of the money dance therapy is simply to help you improve your money dance and then get you to a point whereby you can understand the lyrics while you're still happy, so that if sadness will come later on, that will not be the time to now push the hard lessons of money management, money engagement, money relationships down your throat, because that would be like another double blow because things are not working. We all live with goals. We live with ambitions. We live with aspirations. They, of course, some of them paint very good pictures of wealth. Some of them even are, some people would call them stories ajaba, but we would say that we have very, very many investment strategies that at times roll in our minds. We have plans about how we will save. We get ourselves to even take up policies, take up investment plans, open money market accounts, but we don't sustain them. We begin programs, and maybe these are things that started while we were still young. We would take some cans and pour, maybe open them up a bit so that they can accept some coins, and we make those piggy banks back at home. But at the end of the day, we start saving, and slowly by slowly, that ambition dies. Some of us are like, we will change, we will do ABCD when we have some very good earnings. For example, if I change jobs or if I get that job, then I'll do ABCD. Very, very great goals and very great dreams. But I want to bring you to the realization that at times, some of these things may not be working out, not because you don't know, because maybe you even sat in some finance classes, you've sat in sessions where they've talked about budgeting, you've sat in sessions where they've even helped you download apps that can help you with budgets. You've sat with advisors, for example, as you're filling those forms for insurance saving plans, or with the bank advisors, or with maybe someone else there. You've sat in financial literacy classes, and some of these things may not appear or may not sound very new to you. These are things you know, but when it comes to the implementation, then you find that the outcome of your activities, the outcome of your dance is still not where it's supposed to be. So I want to introduce you to the wiser model. The wiser model says that if we began our healing process from checking, evaluating our revenue relationships, that is where the dance begins. Those revenue relationships will be our associations, they will be our contractual engagements, they will be the activities we want to engage with, they will be those spaces where we rub shoulders with opportunities that then can give us monies. Those relationships, when handled well, give us an opportunity to earn. And so when we earn, then we are able to then get ourselves to the next dance floor now, which is the dance floor of earnings. The dance floor of earnings, if we dance very, very well, because there are people who never leave that dance floor to the next level, they're simply there, money coming in, but they cannot get themselves to the next level, which is the level of savings. They simply have the cycle of earnings and earnings and earnings, and it is a vicious one, which is not only limited to those who earn little, but rather even those who earn a lot of money do not know how to get themselves to the next cycle, the next dance floor, which is the dance floor of savings. Those who manage to get to savings then also get themselves to save, and at times they accumulate a lot of things which I want to later on call flowsets, because they are things that look like assets, but they are not assets because they don't earn you anything. You end up looking at your portfolio, you are asset rich, but very cash poor. There are certain things that you cannot be able to do despite the portfolio that you already holding. They get themselves there, meaning they are saving, the attitude, the activity is right, but the space is wrong. Saving in wrong spaces, maybe because it is informed by other things, which we are going to explore in this therapy session. Then others who break through from there, of course, now get themselves to the next level, which is the level of investments. And here also, other things play in. You have your objectives of what do you want from whatever you are investing in. You have the horizon. How much time do you want to allow it to crystallize, to incubate, to mature? You also have your risk appetite in that particular space. So they invest, and you find that at times they are busy, but they are not busy in business. So we want to explore that as well, because those who then succeed there can get themselves to wealth. And when you get to wealth, it means that you invested in the right assets. And those assets now are the ones that have been invited to the table to be able to now help you start earning from your assets. Not necessarily you are working directly, hands and skin in the game. No, but your assets are now generating, because we are limited as human beings in terms of space. We are limited. We can only be in one geographical location at a given time. But when you do this dance properly, from revenue relationships, dance well into earnings, dance well into savings, dance well into investments, you can now dance into wealth, because now it will be your assets making the money for you. You can afford to go on holiday. You can afford to be somewhere. And for those of you who are Christians, I borrow this model from the book of Matthew chapter 25 that talks about the parable of the talents. It's a parable many people interact with, but it teaches certain salient financial management principles wherein we get this wiser model, which is wealth, W for the wealth, I for investment, S for savings, E for earnings, and R for revenue relationships. We see this wealthy person who is planning a safari, and as he is going away, his strategy is to double his wealth. He has 8 talents, but he would want to come back and find 16 of them. Most of us, when we take holidays, when we go on safaris, we go to spend. There is no asset left behind that is working for us in our absence that we can come back and say our portfolio has doubled. We, of course, come back with empty bank accounts and very many photos or selfies that we took in our destinations. And it is very typical of each one of us. Ask somebody and they'll tell you that when I am at work, I spend less than when I am actually at home, because there are certain things that happen and things are not aligned. So how then do we dance in all these arenas in a manner that can help us? The wealthy man danced, left assets with his servants. That means that for the servants, a revenue relationship was triggered because they had that servant-master relationship. That revenue relationship created earnings. One got 5 talents, another one got 2 talents, another one got 1 talent. Then they saved them because when the master came back, none of them had eaten capital. So each of them, therefore, moved to the next step of saving. But then this is now where the separation started happening. There is one guy who had 1 talent who was left here at savings, while the other 2 proceeded to investment. And they got 5 more for the guy who got 5 and 2 more for the guy who got 2. And remember, when they were being given these talent allocations, they were each given according to their ability, meaning the ability you build, that ability, when it meets opportunity, then preparation plus opportunity is simply a spark of success. And that's why we say, you in a forum like this today, there is something about your ability that is going to be sharpened or triggered to start operating at a different level. When these 2 servants got to investment stage, only 1 servant then ascended to wealth. And this was the guy who got 5 talents, because by that time the master came back, he now had 10. And while he was enjoying himself in the banquet, he is being called and given an additional 1, which had been taken away from the guy who only had 1 talent. So we see a scenario where the 10 talents are giving this person an extra 1 talent, like a 10% growth again. And now he has not applied any effort. He has not done anything extra, but there is an addition, meaning it is the success with the 10 that's now brought in this 1 extra. And that is where we would want everybody else to go, such that join into the party by the time you're getting into retirement and let your assets now generate more. That is the only way you can be able to fulfill even the wise man saying and challenge in Proverbs 13:22 that talks about a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children or his grandchildren. So why do we struggle at times with this? Now, through the money dance therapy, this is an opportunity that we get you to walk through certain processes, we get you to walk through certain interactions and engagements to now start seeing that at the end of the day, by the way, your current life goals could be secretly mirroring the past money wounds that you got when either you were young or when you were maybe in the prior phase of the engagements, maybe in your past a few years ago, those wounds speak out today. So the farthest we can stretch this conversation is actually to look at how one was brought up, because how you grew up determines whether there'll be echoes of your childhood money wounds showing up or rearing out in your adult goals, because the goals you have today may actually be those economic yearnings that were lingering in you. You are just waiting for that time when you will get some money, and then you secretly want to mirror them out like as if they are now some other more salient goals, but they are actually a reflection of the past money wounds that you had, and you see that. So it is a call that within this journey, you may actually end up even changing some of the things you thought were your goals, simply because there is a new realization, there is a new self-awareness that actually helps you be able to understand yourself better, where you're coming from and where you are going. So the therapy begins by ushering you into a triage. And the triage, just like when you go to a normal hospital today, you'll be taken into a room where you're told, okay, let's take your temperature, let's take your weight, let's take your height for the children, and things like those ones. Then a few questions here and there, just to get the basics of what it is that brought you for checkup, for example. So in the triage in this room, we explore the psychodynamic approach, where we apply psychoanalysis to be able to at least try and unearth some of those things that may be hidden, because through that theory, what we learn is that in the psychoanalysis, analytic theory, we learn something that everybody at times has some submerged iceberg, and that iceberg simply shows you that whatever is beneath is heavier compared to what you see at the top. And this is a thing that sunk the Titanic, for example, where the iceberg below was, of course, heavier. And so whatever people saw at the top, and this is what we see when we interact with you, your personality, behaviors, and all that. We only see the tip of the iceberg. But deep within, there may be seated some lingering desires that you picked when you are young. Some of these maybe cost you even some wounds. If they were positive, then they were just submerged earnings, waiting for the day you start having your money, the day you start earning your own cash, the day you have some savings here and there, those positive yearnings come in. If those experiences also were negative, some of them definitely would actually shape your desires today, either create some fear, either make you get to a point whereby you are very risk averse, or gets you to a point whereby you are actually displaying a very high appetite for risk, because for you, what is the worst that can happen? When you look back, you have deeper money wounds, such that even today you do not care about certain things. The things you're supposed to check, for example, before you even invest somewhere, those small tick boxes you need to do, maybe at this point you are like, no, forget about that paperwork, forget about all this. For me, I simply just want to get in. What is the worst that can happen? So you have a very high risk appetite, also a manifestation maybe of those past money wounds that you have. So it explores your current cravings, and also then looks at the manifestation of some of your economic desires, to actually check whether where you are there, are you a product of nature, or are you a product of nurture? If you're a product of nature or a product of nurture, none of them would come out as more superior. What we need to say is that you cannot be exclusively a product of nurture, and nature never had any effects. Neither can you be exclusively a product of nature and nurture never had any effect. There are some things we learn from each other. There are some things we learn from experiences that we either went through ourselves or somebody else went through them and we were able to observe. So today then, if you look at what your deepest economic yearnings are, there's someone who said something that was a bit very, very painful, but at times when you sit back and reflect on it, they would actually tell you that most people, by the way, would actually be very, very corrupt. It is just that the opportunity has never crossed their path. So if the opportunity has never crossed your path, maybe that would have tested, but would you go all the way to have this tested in that particular way? Because that again would also still leave you with some money wounds, leave you with some financial desire. So what I was saying was that in the triage, then we request for your vulnerability, because some of these sessions may dig slightly into historical experiences or maybe childhood experiences that you may not want to revisit. But at the end of the day, for purposes of unearthing it or bringing it out to the fore, then we can deal with it from a counseling a point of view. Then it would be important for one then to explore such vulnerabilities. But what I'm saying is that we are now a little bit more conscious that such things can actually happen. So the triage then takes you into a self-awareness journey. You look at when the stages you are in life. There was the dependency stage. You saw money affecting you, impacting your life, but you are not the one earning it, neither were you the one who was making decisions over it. So what yearnings did you pick at that particular stage, if they are positive? You maybe you looked at things like, when I grow up, I want to be like so-and-so who is commanding this kind of respect because he or she has money, or this person who is earning a lot of money so is able to provide for other people. Or whenever you'd want to go, maybe it is your dad, maybe it was your mother, maybe it is your guardian who had the money, and you felt like I have to go beg there to get a pen, I have to go beg there to get a book bought for me, I have to really convince them that I need a new pair of socks, those things, until you get to a point whereby you are like, the day I'll start earning my own money, I will never ask anyone for anything. So the yearnings that you have there are yearnings that were crying for freedom. They were crying for that separation. They were crying for that independence. Then you picked that and you got yourself into the earning stage. Got a job maybe, or started some business there, because some of you were thrown into businesses. Some of them admired things that even today when you look back and say, was that me selling groundnuts those years? Was that me, for example, doing ABCD those years? Yeah. I did that because there is something. I got into that space. And you know, with movement, just like Newton's law talks about, a push or a pull, that is what force is. So if force is a push or a pull, then you get yourself to a point whereby some people are pushed into certain things because of the economic status of things. Others were pulled into certain things because of the attraction that was there in those particular stages. So in your earning stage, then you look back and ask yourself, by the way, how did I even spend my first salary? Then your first salary is normally the best mirror to look at what were the deep-seated yearnings that you had when you were coming into that particular stage. Maybe you are just saying, the first salary that I will get, I will buy myself so many clothes, I'll buy myself a phone, I will move out of that house. You know, some people I know have moved out of houses even before they got their salary coming in. The moment the names just appeared in some register somewhere that you have been employed, they came and started agitating how to move out immediately. So you've not been chased, you've not I've been given an ultimatum and the like, but that deep yearning that you had actually meant that you simply just wanted that independence. You simply just wanted to be, you know. So we have that, and we have wounds that we also pick there, because we either pick them because of how we got ushered into how to manage our own money, no training, no nothing. Nobody taught us about how to do a budget. Nobody taught us about how to save, how to plan even an income. No one. We just got into that, and we thought we knew. Years down the line, we look back, we have saved nothing, we have not done anything. Our dance with money has been very, very poor, and therein we definitely start nursing money wounds and financial injuries. Then we get ourselves to the growth stage. Growth stage, now we are competing with our previous inadequacies. We are competing with our previous inefficiencies. We are competing with our previous yearnings. And here we start accumulating flowsets. Flowsets, I said, are things, they look like assets, but they are not assets. They are just things we use to floss around. When we use them to floss around, I call them flowsets. But those are the things that now occupy us in our growth stages. I was having a session with somebody today earlier in the afternoon, and we were saying that when we misdiagnose our life problems, what happens is that we confuse things, simple things like a house and housing. We do not know whether we are chasing a house or we are chasing housing because that is our basic need. We do not know even whether we need just a gadget that can help us communicate, or we are yearning for a camera that can call, or we went to buy a phone that can take photos. There's a difference there. When it comes to means of transport, what is it that I need to be inside to move me from one point to the other? So we get to that point whereby we confuse certain things. Even within families, we have people who do not know the difference between are we chasing schooling for our children, or are we chasing education for our children? If we are chasing schooling, then it means that it is where the child goes that matters. Whatever they come out with does not matter. It is the name of the school we are pushing, and we can pay an arm and a leg even just to tick that particular box. We want to stay in certain gated communities. Is it a house or is it housing? So we confuse all these, and we find ourselves in this rat race. We are chasing so many things and inflicting ourselves with a lot of wounds. Some of us also suffering wounds that have been also inflicted by our own partners, spouses as well, colleagues, things like those ones, simply because in this growth stage arena, the dance there is very, very erratic and everybody is busy. Some are busy, but not in business. Then you very, 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 very soon find yourself in the retirement stage. And there now you start sitting with despair. You find yourself with a lot of assets. You are asset rich but cash poor. You find yourself regretting the years that you had money, because all of a sudden now your net replacement ratio is not something that mirrors somebody who used to swim in cash. We are sitting with a net replacement ratio in this country of around 26%. That means that somebody who is earning 100,000 today, when they retire, they have to squeeze their life into 26,000 shillings per month. Money wounds, money and financial injuries. That is why we have phrases like black tax. That is why we have parental assistance happening around, and people failing to plan for your retirement is actually planning to fail in your retirement. So all those things do come, and definitely the triage brings them out as you talk about your desires, as you talk about your goals, as you talk about your dreams. The therapist is able to see that, by the way, for this particular one is simply a mirror of this particular pain. What do you think? And there we go, because some of us, because of those pains, we live the life of what will people say if they see me walking to town? What will people say if they see me living or coming in a certain place? There's a difference between where you stay and where you live, because living is what is expected, staying is very, very temporary. Anyway, let me continue. So when you start the revenue dance now, meaning that you have unearthed, you've come to the stage of self-awareness, now you are in a stage whereby you are saying, I am ready for this dance. Now let us begin with the dance of my revenue relationships. Now here you have that professional identity crisis that then needs to be reshaped again, so that you know who you are, first of all. Now you get to a point whereby through such theories like cognitive behavioral therapy, we also have rational emotive behavioral therapy. We can now look at your thoughts, we can look at your emotions, we can look at your behaviors, join some dots here and there, so that now you know yourself fully. You know that now this is me, this is how I behave with money, this is how I behave when I do not have money, this is how I behave when I am waiting for money. Because there are some people, the promise that you will get money next week means that spending has already begun today before the money lands, such that that if the money delays, then there is a problem and there is chaos. As you interact in your revenue relationships, going to work, for example, have you onboarded the business mindset that looks at you not as an employee, not looking at the employer as your employer, but looking at your employer as your client? This is someone who buys your service every end of the month and pays for it regularly every end of the month. So anyone who buys a good or a service from you is your client. So do you treat your employer as your client, or are you in that space whereby you walk into your employment spaces and corridors like a victim because you have the mindset of an employee? So if you have the mindset of an employee, it means that you distance yourself from identifying with the business or the brand that you actually wake up to every day. And that mindset then leads to some cultures, and those cultures in some organizations are so toxic such that if you try a culture change there, it is definitely a totally great and big overhaul that you have to do. But what we are yearning for in this particular space, in this first dance floor, is to say that we want to reactivate somebody's growth patterns, give them self-awareness, enable them to embody the right business mindset, and then get them to a place whereby they can change their culture, how they approach things and all that. Because some people, same manager, you can get a supervisor, same manager, some other people can get a mentor, some other people can get a coach, another one can actually get somebody who breathes on your neck every given time, simply because of who you are and what you brought to the fore at that particular time. So there's a lot of conversation here, but going through that particular dance floor would give you an opportunity to know who you are and then change your mindset and get you to a place whereby you can now start relating very well with the sources of your revenues. Is it your job? Is it your clients? Is it your business? Whatever it is that brings you money, you start viewing it in a totally different area, and you cure any professional identity crisis that you may have. Then once you've done with that, then you're ushered into the second dance floor. This is the dance floor, the dance of your earnings stage. So here you look at your income, and one of the things you want to do is that you want to get yourself from the list of those people who are busy but not in business. You don't want to drive round about all the day, because you will spend the fuel, the tires will wear out, the mileage will count, but you are not moving. So there are some people who, because they are trapped in the dance of their earnings stage, we celebrate them for other things that they do not know at times, that we are mocking them. When you are in some space and maybe you are getting things like long service award, I hope I'm not throwing stones to anyone, then you need to ask yourself whether are you really in that space because you are in the path of maximizing your earning potential. Did you come in as a junior staff and now you have grown into the ranks? Or are you simply there where you are, where you've been, the things you've been doing the last 5 years, the last 10 years, same space and the like? The question would be, the dance of your earnings is poor, because there's something that you may need to look at. Over these months that you've been earning, are there instances where you look at the month, you have more month left than the money, simply because you cannot manage a cycle where the shilling you earn in January can meet the shilling you earn in February and get some fellowship? If that is the case, then the dance of your expenses, the dance of how you're managing the expense lines is poor, and something needs to tweak. You are one of those people who we need to really push. Tools like budgeting, discipline, get you there. Automate what can be automated. If it needs to go to savings and the like, get there. Because some people, because the dance of the expenses is very poor, they are normally afraid of holding money at any time. The best thing that can bring them back to the line, to toe the line, is usually loans. So you take a loan knowing very well that this deduction, if it will be going there, that is a very expensive avenue of acquiring anything, because what we say is that If you need something, save for it. Do not consume it and then pay for it later. You normally pay a lot more. So are you really growing your bottom line? Are you getting to a point whereby you can see, because success in life is not so much about how much you earn, it is how you manage that little that comes into your hands. And that is what happens in the dance floor of earnings. In this particular therapy room, this is what we go through, and we look at all that very, very objectively, questioning and challenging. Are there areas where you need to reskill, retool, things like those ones to get you to earn more? Because at the end of the day, you need to make sure your top line is growing, your expense line is normally going down because you're focused so much on what your needs are, not necessarily all your wants. Your bottom line is also growing, and you have also diversified your revenue sources. So we challenge you to that. Look at what is it that you can do. What are these things people call side hustles, for example? What is it that can work for you? We challenge you properly to get you to such a place. And of course, with the realization that we have to know the times we are in. Those people who are in the agrarian age did their things differently. Those who went into the machinery age did their things differently. Those who are in the distribution age are doing their things differently. In the ICT age and AI age that we are here, we also must think about what will happen after AI, what will be the post-AI season, and what will we go through. So you coming all this way tells you that there are certain mastery skills that you have been building. There are certain spaces that you've been thriving in. Drastic changes towards the latter years of your life at times may not really amount to much. I've been in the retirement industry now almost 19 years, and at times you hear some people telling you that when I retire, I'll transform into a farmer. I want to go and do farming, but this is something they've never known. They don't know how to plant a tomato in their backyard. Here you want to transform drastically and become a master in farming. That will not work. Money follows mastery. So you must position yourself to be able to say, whatever it is that I am doing now, 15 years to retirement should actually get me somewhere where I can now attract money because it will be attracted to my mastery. And these are my strengths. Your core strength is what will help you make money. So if you're doing a side hustle, look for a side hustle that is within your strengths. Are there things you need to upskill or reskill? And all those things are some challenges that will give you. And once you've done that, you can relaunch yourself, repeat yourself, and then get your client to actually appreciate you more. Get this representative of your client, who is your line manager, also gets to appreciate you even more because you are repeating every time you meet them for evaluation and the like. So success is not pegged on how much you earn, but on how you manage the little that falls into your hands. The growth stage is normally where we see a lot of, I would say, suckers, because most of us in this platform tonight, I want to believe we are in the middle income category, or most of us are slightly there. I would not be wrong to say over 80% are in that middle income or the middle class category. Now here, where we dance the dance of our growth is where we interact a lot with what I call money decisions as opposed to financial decisions. When we make financial decisions, they lead us to financial prosperity. But when we make money decisions more often, we bring in our emotions, we bring in our feelings, we bring in those satisfactions. And at the end of the day, they actually get us to more painful spaces because we pick money wounds, and then once we picked money wounds, those ones crystallize and become financial injuries. So in this growth stage, this is where the real reality check comes in, because here you are, you have the money, here you are, you have the wounds that you carry from the past, and here you are, you have the fears of tomorrow as well starting to creep in. So in this particular time, then we say that as you go through this process, as you go through these conversations, are there hindsights? Where was I before, and where am I? Are there insights? Where am I right now? And you look at your money dance and you ask yourself, I've worked for the last 10 years. I have zero assets on my name. I have worked for the last 15 years. I have accumulated zero savings. I have worked for the last 20 years. My bank account still reads zero. I do not even tick the box on such simple things like, for example, I need to have an emergency fund that is 6 times my monthly earnings. Are you sitting with that right now? Or are you the kind that would sink, and even do a deep dive into other spaces, the spaces like Fuliza, the spaces like borrowing from other people, the spaces like tomorrow, or this is the week where many of you will be earning. In that earning, are you paying debts, for example? You know, foresight, where do you want to be? There are certain things you feel, I am tired about them. I don't want this life in the future or tomorrow. I do not want to go through similar experiences tomorrow. There's something that I need to do, and I need to do it differently. So here, we definitely would take you through that. We will reflect back again and say, are there echoes of your past money wounds that are now featuring in your adult goals? Are there lingering economic yearnings? Have you dealt with them? We can help you be able to get yourself to actually deal with them. Then those secret goals, secretly mirroring goals that come in and they actually just reflect where you are. They actually tell you that, hey, you know what? These current growth goals you're putting up here, they still secretly mirror some of those past money wounds. Can we go back and earth them, deal with them? Because they'll mess you up. This growth stage is your last chance for many people, because the moment you get into retirement, the moment you get into those latter years, you are no longer employable again, because you will be looking for jobs, for example, in those cadres that you're competing with some more agile young people who've just finished campus and the like, and many employers today, they don't just pay experience, you know, they actually would want to pay productivity. So there's someone who can do that thing 3 times better than you, because where we are coming from, our age, our exposure, our experiences did not create that very fast pace in certain things. So there we go. Dance of your growth stages, of course, comes in, and we are asking you, in this, are you still busy accruing assets, or are you busy accruing flow sets? If you're doing flow sets only, then definitely your dance of your growth stage is poor and needs to be reviewed. Then we have the expenditure patterns you look at again. Analyze them. Are you consumption oriented? Are you investment oriented? You look at all that. How do you guys manage your family income, for example? You're looking at what you're bringing in, what your spouse is bringing in. How are you managing? Are you consumption oriented? Have you split, for example, bills to say you pay school fees, I'll pay rent, I'll buy food, I'll do all this? How is that dance happening? Some of us trapped in debts, in the debt pit, deep, deep, deep. And what we say is that if you find yourself in a pit, the first thing is that you should stop digging. Someone else also put it in a different way and said that when you discover that you boarded the wrong bus, the longer you take to alight, the more expensive your return trip will be. So in that particular case, used to this, we've sat with some people and they've discovered that, by the way, what I really thought I was ticking the box of life with, for example, my mortgage, is actually a wrong bus that I had boarded. And they look at that and you analyze so many things. Of course, you look at this, you bring everything to the fore, and you help that person be able to deal with those money wounds and those financial injuries, because those are the challenges that we go through in life. Now, then you're ushered now into the real dance floors now, the positive side, pains aside. Now let us positively now work on your dance of your revenue relationship, because these are the 5 dance floors that will now change your life. The dance of your revenue relationships, if it works very well, that's a 2-hour session, change your life. The dance of your earnings relationships, will another 2 hours will change your life. The dance of your savings, the dance of your investments, and the dance of your wealth. So in each of these rooms, each of them, the 2 hours, you look at revenue identity, we look at King Solomon's business model. He had a very interesting model, which I'll share with you. He had what we call a gift products. He had what we call the core products. He had what we call the premium products, and also the subscription products. Given time one day, or if you come for this particular session, or if you enroll for the masterclass that we will be rolling out soon, then you can be able to look at all this analytically and get to appreciate that. But one of the key things we help people with is how do you set camp and how do you break camp? The timing of your coming in and the timing of your exit is very, very important. The plugs on and plugs off, of course, those decisions you must make them. In the dance of the earnings, in the room, we look at your earning potentials. We look at how can we challenge you to reskill? How can we challenge you to retool? How can we be able to help you to maximize your top line in that? And how do you also look at your expense line management, and then also revamping the bottom line to give you the opportunity to actually look at even other windows or other avenues that can earn you money. If there is a hustle, there is a side hustle you're looking at, is it a viable thing? You know, how does the business plan shape out or look like if you were to actually decide to go there? Even here, again, we also look at King Solomon's business model. Then in the dance of your savings, we look at the safety of your funds. We look at whether you know your regulators. Do you know who regulates the space you are going into? If you're saving in a bank, Central Bank of Kenya. If you're saving in an insurance company, Insurance Regulatory Authority. If you're doing a pension product, are you there with the Retirement Benefits Authority? If you're doing a money market, are you there with Capital Markets Authority? Are you in SASRA, for example, with the SACCOs? All those things we look at, and then we help you be able to appreciate what we call the trust concept. We also look at processes and governance. We also look at access and liquidity of what you are saving into, and then the costs and the opportunity costs also. And then we also look at whether you'll be earning a simple interest or a compounded interest. How do we accelerate that and keep you at the top there in all that? When we come to the dance of your investments, we're looking at your investment objectives and aligning them accordingly, your horizon as available, the risk profiling and the asset classes you can go into, and even the liquidity needs that you will have into the future. That one will come in there. How do we map cash flows for you, and how do we get you to a point whereby even your retirement planning is sound and it matches your age where you are at the moment? And then will you go into retirement annuities or will you do income drawdowns? We help you analyze both, and therefore you make a decision that is well informed. Once you get there, it means that now you have the right asset mix, and there now you can usher yourselves into the dance floor of wealth. Now, in the dance of your wealth, we look at wealth accumulation, we look at wealth protection, we look at wealth distribution, and there now things and conversations like family trusts will come in, conversations like how do you look and see your beneficiaries coming in. So all these arena, all this process, all this program is so profound such that you'll come out of that with your life business plan, a business plan for you, not for a business, but because you are a business in yourself, you actually come out with an action plan there that can change your life. So in the money dance therapy, we are simply speaking that healing is what we are targeting. We would want you to build revenue relationships that work, maximize your earnings, space where you save matters. So the spaces where your money goes in are well calculated, well aligned, so that you do not suffer money wounds or financial injuries as you go on. And then get yourself into assets, not flossets anymore, because flossets will hurt you or harm you and will not benefit you as expected. And then once you get to become in the wealth category, definitely cash flows from your assets will make you the king, because you'll not find yourself in the trap of you are asset rich but cash poor. So the question you may be asking yourself tonight is, George, how can I change my money dance? You're simply saying, protect your revenue relationships, optimize your opportunities to earn, and boost your saving levels, and then make better investment decisions, and then plan your wealth distribution better. So this session today was simply a reality check. It was simply inviting you to check your money dance to help you make more financial decisions and not money decisions, because money decisions will cause you money wounds. Those money wounds will crystallize to become financial injuries. Now, in the therapy, our desire is that you succeed. No more money wounds and no more financial injuries. We want you to be healed from the past wounds of your dependency stage, healed and happy in the earning stage, happy in the revamped growth stage, because now you are targeting real growth assets, and then happy into the future as you go and roll into your retirement stage. So part of these conversations I've covered in the book, Dance with My Money. The book is available on print at Nuria bookstores, Moy Avenue, Bazaar Building, first floor. But at the same time, on this website, moneydancetherapy.com, I also have the audio book. And if you're to scan this QR code, you can actually get yourself right into that website and see if you can start listening. There are some chapters there that you listen for free. And then there are some areas there where you just pay 100 shillings and you can be able to listen to a conversation that can change your life. Now, I'm also making this announcement that watch out this space together with the Hallmark Institute of Professionals. We will be launching the Money Dance Therapy Masterclass that now drills deeper into all these spaces. It is a 10-hour engagement or a 10 sessions engagement with modules, 5 modules there, each module covering 2 hours. And there you go, you'll be there. Then later on again, we'll also be rolling out the TOT program, where if you would want to also be impactful to change somebody's life, change somebody's money dance, then you can become a money dance therapy champion through the TOT program that we'll be launching soon. So I'd like to take it back to Irene as we then field any questions that our listeners today may be having as we continue. I hope the session has been impactful. So back to you, Irene. Irene, if you're talking, you're on mute.
Hello, I'm Christine, the admin at Hallmark.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Sir George. I want to confirm if my network is a bit stable, right? Since I can see some of us have and also check on the chat. Somebody had asked, okay, Christine, you can also occasion for those who would want to join. In the meantime,
Yes, Irene, please proceed. Wow, I think Irene is going through some network challenges, but I would want to sample a few questions.
so sorry, team. Today my network is really terrible.
Okay, Irene, I can sample the questions on the chat box. Then we can see if we can look at them.
Sure.
Yeah, so, okay, would you want to go through that? I think now your network sounds clear.
Yeah, we can start by this one that is showing up. How can one get out of debt pit? Somebody says, I am so interested. Thank you so much for the informative session. So Mr. George, as you answer that one of the debt pit, I can add some more. You can pick that first.
Okay, thank you. I think for the debt one, I just want to go back and say that if you find yourself in a pit, the first action is to stop digging. So stop piling more, and then let us look at how do we get you to repay or have it restructured so that you can pay it in a more relaxed way. And then at the end of the day, whatever else you may need, then you will be saving towards it. Yeah, so that is a whole program. We can sit with you, Leon, and then we'll be able to guide you on how to handle that. We have a question from Happy, FCS Happy Kilongosi, asking, will you share the presentation? The answer is yes, we will share this presentation. And then please, is it possible to share the recording? Yes, again, even the recording we will be able to share for those who joined late. So Jane Jeroge, there I think we got you covered. Johnson Nyakundi says, wow, I'm so interested. Thank you, George, for the informative session. So Johnson, please look out for the advert. Once it comes out from Hallmark Institute, then we should be able to get you onboarded either in the masterclass and then later on in the TOT. Those who will be doing TOT must have first of all done the masterclass so that they are first of all recipients of the same, and they've gone through the program, skin in the game, so they will know now what to do when they are also administering the program to others. So that one will be coming through. Then someone is asking, yeah, they can also join the WhatsApp group by Hallmark, and that way then they'll be closer to the information that will be shared there. And definitely for those who need the book, as you said earlier on, the book is available at Nuria bookstores for the hard copy, then moneydancetherapy.com for the audio version of it. So back to you, Irene. Irene, are you able to speak?
Yes, George, though with difficulties, but as I progress, there are some questions I've already directed to you on your WhatsApp, but somebody had said, how do I position myself to be visible to my targeted clients? Another one was saying, I am looking forward to learning more about how I can heal from the financial wounds. I think we have already said that we have therapy sessions for you. And then somebody said, what are some of the investments that one can make with as low as 5,000? George, you can maybe respond to that quickly, even as we wait for the therapy and the masterclass. And then I think you can respond to those four, and then we can pick some more. Three of them, yes.
Thank you. I think success with investments or savings is not so much in how much. We are in an era where most of these platforms are very, very accessible. I remember some years back, you could not open a unit trust account if you did not have 250,000 shillings. And then it came back to 50. Today, you can open a money market fund with 1,000 bob. Yeah, all you need to do is know which one to target. I work with one called Kuza Asset Management. And so you can simply actually just do that, and you can do that. So you can save even as little as 5,000. 5,000, the younger you are, the little you will put aside as savings, because there's another magic, a wonder of this world called compound interest. That thing works wonders, especially if you are young. Yeah, because you have a very, very long horizon. And once you compound and compound and compound, you'll realize that your injection is very small. The bulk of what you will have saved will definitely be what compound interest made for you. So take advantage of that if you are young. So someone asks, how do I position myself to be visible to my targeted clients? Well, this is a question about brand positioning and brand visibility. So it is something that we tackle in the revenue relationship, because your clients are the ones who are paying you. They are the ones who will be now coming to you. And remember, when you launch a business, you need to ask yourself, am I pushing a product or am I bringing a solution to the people? If you have a product, then products are sold. You will do a lot of selling, pushing, advertise, do everything. But when you have a solution, solutions are bought. It is those who have the need that this solution is solving who will now come and approach you. Your challenge will be, how do I get my customers satisfied? Not necessarily how do I get customers. So that means that you'll be on a different platform. So first of all, make sure whatever you have, whatever you are positioning is a solution and not just a product. So that is a conversation we can have with you. I am looking forward to learning more about how I can heal from financial wounds. Whoever wrote this, please simply just enroll, come for money dance therapy, and we'll be able to take you through those 5 modules, and you can come out of there a person who is healed and dry and ready to face the future. Another one is asking, what are some of the investments one can make with as low as 5,000? I think that one I've answered. As 5,000 shillings, be the money market space or do a fixed income fund. That way then you start growing your money without exposing yourself to any risks. Then please talk about how to enjoy your money as a firstborn without guilt. Very, very good. As a firstborn, the only way you can enjoy your money without guilt is if you use a budgeting tool. Because in that budgeting tool, you will be saying, I want to factor in the realities of where I am coming from, the realities of the burdens that are around me. Then once you have factored all that into a budget, then at the end of the day, dispense with that budget as planned. And that way you'll not feel guilt utilizing the allocation you've made. But please remember, even here in Africa, we've not been taught what honor means. Honor is so profound such that it comes from you alone, such that you can be able to honor your parents or maybe even give to the needy without feeling any guilt, provided you are well structured in your planning, and a budget tool would work very well. So whoever asked this question, we would guide you to walk with us as we guide you through how to budget for your expenses. Your expenses should fit into 50% of what you're earning. The other 50% should take care of your savings, should go take care of your loans, for example, and obligations that you have, should also factor in to some extent maybe those helps or aids that you're giving to somebody else out there. Another question here asks, we have parents who never gave with ease while growing up, even though they had it. Never give or step up even when we requested them in the present day, but they are okay requesting for financial assistance from you. In some instances, we also observe one parent who is selfish towards the other parent. They are always on the receiving end and have no problem reaching out to us for help, but they can never help the other parent, even with funds for medical assistance. Well, this is a sad scenario, and it simply tells you that this is one environment that is inflicting wounds across for the partners. It's also inflicting financial wounds for the children who are observing such things. So if you grew up in such an environment, most definitely you have money wounds that we need to talk about. You have financial injuries we need to talk about. The same parent who was also being denied access and not being given assistance also has money wounds that may need to be addressed. So this is a perfect example of what therapy would need to address in this particular situation. Another question asks, I have no problem with giving and I actually budget for it and send money without being asked. I have learned to live within my means, never to have expectations or to rely on anyone. But where do I draw the line? I mean, I cannot be doing well, yet my parents are suffering. Very, very good. Another conversation there that requires us to explore what money wounds people are seated with. Is somebody who feels overburdened, somebody who feels overstretched there, and who also feels like maybe unappreciated. So that is also a candidate for therapy there. Now, another question asks, how do I not go back to the past when asked to step in one way or another? I mean, people are all nice and entitled when they want financial help from you, but never reciprocate. Again, we see money wounds are coming out. So in that particular case, all you need is boundaries. And once you also have boundaries, then make sure that they are not very wide boundaries that actually delineate you from other people. We are social beings, but at the end of the day, with good planning, 50-30-20 model works very well for many people, where 50% covers you for all your expenses, 30% goes to your savings, 20% goes to your obligations, loans, and maybe help and aid that you can give somewhere. So you need to just make sure that even when you are lending out and the like, lend out what you are ready to lose, so that if it comes back, you appreciate. If it doesn't come back, then of course, it doesn't throw you into a financial ICU. It is because you already had factored that in, that it is money that you may not get back anyway. So what are shared funds? Shared funds, in this case, I hope this person meant maybe collective investment schemes. Yeah, so that those collective investment schemes, you with your money, I with my money, we meet together somewhere in a pool called a money market fund. And in that money market fund, our monies can be invested as a pool. And then when the return is given, then the return can be allocated to us when we are alone. A good example would be, if I have 10,000 shillings and I walk to my bank and I ask them I want interest, they'll dismiss me. But if I take my 10,000 shillings and push in a money market fund that commands maybe 100 million a day, definitely that 100 million into the same bank will be given some interest. Then the fund will come back and tell me, because I contributed 10,000 shillings, I also get an allocation of that interest, maybe less, just 2%, because that would go to management fees. So at times, investing in pools or in those collective investment schemes helps you access certain markets that you could not have accessed if you were to go alone. Another question asks, how do you deal with working with relatives and them overworking you and misusing you? These are also revenue relationships, and there are wounds being inflicted there. A good conversation for us to be able to look at, and how to be able to also do whatever it needs to be done professionally, contract professionally, and all those kind of things. Have clear JDs and all that in your business, so that you do not actually, the way they say, don't mix friendship with business, also don't mix relationships with business. Do business as business, and that way then you simply just need to have policies in place. I don't say don't employ relatives, no. If they come, let them not be in that space because they are relatives. Let them be in that space because they are workers, and they are people who are also ready to observe and adhere to the policies that the business has put in place. How do you identify that you have money wounds? Come for therapy. That's a good question. You come for therapy, definitely you will actually see it manifest. You will actually start being able to pinpoint them when you would not have done so. You maybe thought that was how you are wired and what you are doing. How do you invest in stocks, real estate, money market funds, and ETFs? Of course, there are certain things you may not start with directly. If you're very, very new to investment, start with money market funds. And then from there, you can explore the others because they have different risk exposures, and you do not have to be inflicted also with another wound again on the investment arena. Second last question, what are the benefits of having a trust in Kenya? Definitely, one is just make sure that the wealth distribution aspect for your portfolio would be very, very direct. The other thing, I think there are also some tax savings that you get there. And then you are also able to align yourself and protect whatever is yours so that it goes to the right beneficiaries when the time comes and you are not there. So how do you manage money? Definitely through having a good money dance. And then how do you manage leaving a job you hate? I hear you. There are people who say, I love my job. It is the work I hate. Here is somebody who is saying they want to leave the job they hate. I don't know whether it's the job they hate or it is the work, but I suspect it is the work because the job itself pays them some money, meets their bills, but the work involved or the environment or the culture is what they may be struggling with. Come, let's talk. We know we'll be doing the masterclass. A lot of opportunities to unearth most of these things and get all of you to be able to dance better in your respective arenas. Back to you, Irene. I've finished all the 15 questions.
Yeah, thank you, George. Just 2 additional questions. Number 1, looking into earning your potentials, how can you upskill and revamp as you look into other avenues that can give you more money? And another person asked, is it possible to have therapy as a group therapy?
Yeah, it is possible. What we look for is whether the group has many things that put them together. For example, it may be a group of couples who share the same ideals, things like those ones. Then for those ones, they can form that homogeneous cluster. So it is possible to have a group session, but group sessions are only good if those people share something in common. Yeah, so that one we can do. Then the other person who asked about trying to explore other avenues of how do they earn extra and the like. Yes, you are in the right trajectory because when you reskill, you retool, and then you explore what else can you be able to do, what areas of mastery can money follow in your path, then there again, you'll be on the right track to say you're maximizing your earning potential and your dance of earnings would be a good dance as you continue.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sir George. And I think one of the things that excites me this evening is that most of these questions that we are asking is what at this point as a financial wellness enthusiast and advocate and advisor, I normally tell people, and actually this is being proven here, that some of the financial or money wounds that we have experienced is because we did a blanket advice. We picked a blanket advice and we put it into place, and we were done what we call in Kenya character development. And so I highly recommend tailor-made recommendations for everybody who wants to get into the money dance flow. So, and with this therapy, we are going to be giving you an opportunity to get an assessment so that we know how do we advise you in as far as, of course, upskilling and looking at options for you to be able to make more money or bring in different revenue incomes, even with whatever you have, as George said, mastery. So good news again. I think, George, you can finish this by again sharing the screen before the Q&A. That last slide. We have good news for you. Hallmark Institute of Professionals, in partnership with Sir George, the money therapist. We have 2 programs coming up. George, you can give us the second last slide. Okay. Just to tell us what is coming up that we have. Of course, you can go through the therapy sessions. We have a masterclass, and over and above that, for the people who will go through the masterclass, after that, we are going to be having what we are calling a TOT program. Because reality is, if you're on this call and you see the number of questions that are coming, is that we need people who can handle these sessions. We need people who can take people through healing from financial or money wounds through therapy. But this TOT program is going to be offered to people who will have gone through the money dance therapy masterclass, and then for people who have some knowledge in as far as psychology and therapy is concerned. But not to worry, even with that, because we also have another executive program in counseling psychology. So we got all that, and so I just recommended in the chat that you ensure that we have your email or your number either on the chat. You can also join us on the Hallmark mentorship WhatsApp group, so that when we have this program coming up, we will be able to. Allow me not to give you the cost right now, because we want to give you a discounted price for the people who joined this call. As long as we can confirm, we are going to be giving you a discounted rate for the masterclass and subsequently for the TOT program, courtesy of you responding to this call. So be on the lookout. We will be sending, of course, those who are asking whether we will be able to share the recordings and the presentation. Yes, we will. We will share that as soon as they are formatted to the right, they are put into the right format for your consumption. So please drop your email. If we don't share this with you by Wednesday, make sure to send an email or a request on enquiries@hallmark.or.ke, and we will be able to fill in with all the information. We look forward to meeting you at the Money Dance floor with Hallmark Institute of Professionals, and of course, with our therapist, Sir George. I think with all that, I'm seeing Johnson Nyakundi, yes, keep sending those emails. We will pick all of them, and we will be able to share with you all the information that you need. With that said, it's already 9:07. I think we had promised to finish at 9. Thank you so much for those of you who logged in on time. And unless there is any other burning question, which I think we have handled so many of them, please feel free, reach us out at Hallmark. We are available. So most of you have my number. The rest of you, you have Hallmark's number, and we'll be available to work with you through this journey. I got myself the Money Dance book. You have been advised on where you can find it. But again, if you didn't get that right, I'll also be sending you on the how you can get the Dance with My Money book by Mr. George Oyuga. I don't know whether you have anything else, my friend, as closing remarks, so that we can end this and get into other businesses. George?
Thank you very much, Irene. I think mine is just to thank all the participants in the platform today. I think we have begun some conversations that will be very beneficial for many people, directly to them, to you, and also directly to other people that whose lives we can impact. So thank you, and I look forward to more conversations as we continue. Thank you to Hallmark as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sir George. We always say at Hallmark Institute of Professionals, we are all about transforming lives, one step at a time, one life at a time. And we are so glad to have done this, even with you tonight. May God bless you. And so now I want to declare the blessings of God upon each and every one of us. As you go by with your other businesses, you are blessed, you are highly favored. And if you can say amen, that is our prayer tonight. God bless you. You're free to leave as long as you leave your contacts and you also reach out to us. We'll be taking you through as much as possible. God bless you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Senior, is that you?
George, I was listening to you. I'm happy.
Thank you, sir. How are you?
I am good, Georgie.
Hey, long time, my senior.
That's an excellent job. I am unwell.
Oh, Paul sana.
I passed by a doctor's place and I came to the meeting late.
Okay.
But I have managed to reach 9 o'clock, still awake, listening to you.
Thank you, sir.
That's very kind of you. May God bless you and have a nice evening.
Be blessed too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Professor, good to see you. Have a good night and be well. Pole sana.
Asante, I've been given medication and assured that I will recover within 24 hours.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining.
Asante.
George, good night. We catch up tomorrow.
Good night.
Thank you, Irene, and good night as well.